What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about ZANO today. ZANO, however you pronounce it. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. All right, it's the 15th of May today. It's been a little while since we talked about ZANO, but not too long, not too long. Um, Looking at this from a relative high back in January of 2025 to the low here on April 10th. High to low. You've gone all the way up to your golden ratio, pulled all the way back and finding support now in the 0.5 to 382 area. Very common behavior. The next target based off of this to be expected would be something between the 786 to the 886 zone. You could go a little bit higher. Sometimes you do go above the 886, but I would think that you probably do find resistance somewhere between about 1370 to 1570, somewhere in that area. That's your next target. You're at $8.89 now. Could Xano go higher? Of course it could, man. This thing does defy gravity after all. It likes to be pretty damn crazy whenever it moves up, or maybe not even crazy, but just consistent. Very consistent and tenacious, both to the downside and to the upside whenever it is moving. Here we are in this relative consolidation phase here. I don't believe this is a head and shoulders pattern. I don't think that it is at all. I don't think that it's bearish. I think it's just a corrective phase. That's it. We're just rolling over a little bit. We got a little correction going on. This is an overall kind of like consolidation area here, and we're probably going to break out to the upside. Your daily RSI went from being absurdly overbought to the 90s to all the way down here. You're nearly oversold now. I would expect that either here or somewhere below here, you're going to find support. So maybe you've already found your low. Maybe you do find a lower low, whatever. But soon enough, you will find support and continue moving higher. Let's look at that real quick on the 1 hour time frame and the shorter term stuff. See if we can deduce something from there. So from a low here to a high there, you've missed your 1272, but that's not a bad thing. I don't know. I suppose if you get back above the 886, that could be a good thing. Maybe you do have lower to go. If you were to go lower, Xano, and I don't know if you do, but if you were to go lower, I would say $8.20 to $7.60 would be the area to expect. You're at 888 now. I don't expect that you do, but you could. It's possible. Your 1 hour RSI does look pretty bad. But oftentimes it's when you look your worst that you start to actually do really well, right? If we look back, I don't know. Go back to April 11th, right? I mean, your RSI was pretty bad here on the 9th. You still got your low here on like the 11th, right? Wasn't it? Yeah, you were still forming lows. So your RSI got really bad here. It started, even though it was at its worst point here, that's whenever things started getting good. Your price still went down, but inevitably, boom, that's what started you off on this immaculate trend upwards. So, in fact, I wonder, I'm just curious here. That's that same low. That's that exact same area in the RSI. So this is normally the low that you find in your RSI. So doesn't mean that it's the low in the price, but you're very near your low, if not at your low. It can be the low in the price. We saw it here. It doesn't have to be though, right? We've seen it here where it was not the low, right? This low here in the RSI was this low. Continued to go lower. You diverged a little bit and then you ripped. However it looks, we're definitely near the bottom. If we're not at the bottom with this low of $8.45, we're definitely near the bottom with that low, okay? From a time perspective especially. And I think that might be the low. I honestly think it might be. We're looking at this on a 4 hour basis. You've got a nice little downtrend here. You can see that you've been in a lower low, lower high kind of phase in the 4 hour RSI here, the top of which came in on about April 16th. Which was essentially the time you started consolidating in this area. It wasn't the time that you stopped moving up, but I would say this overall, this is kind of a large consolidation phase of itself with various patterns in the mix of it. But yeah, it makes sense that when you break out of this to the upside, when you break out of this downtrend in the 4 hour, that you're probably going to be looking to break out of this consolidation phase as well and continue moving up to those higher targets we discussed earlier. Being here, getting out of your oversold zone, ripping all the way up here, finding lower highs, coming down, finding support above the oversold zone, which is nice to see. You've got higher lows in the RSI, higher lows in the price too. It would be nice. It would be nice. It's not required though. If you closed a 4 hour period below about 875, so you can get that bullish divergence, but whatever, you might not. And again, you could go lower and it's still fine. Even if you go below this low, you've got plenty of reasons to do so. From a low to a high here, the $8.20 area, $8 itself just below there. You've got areas of support back here. You really could go down there. So don't be thrown off if Xano continues to move down. But I'm not calling for that. I'm just more putting it on the radar. I'm not calling for it. If anything, I am calling for this to be the low. If I'm being fair with myself, actually. Daily time frame, daily RSI. Again, suggested that we could go lower, but it depends. I think today closing green would be a nice notion that Xano does not go lower. If today can close green, you're down 6%. You only have 7 hours left in the day. That's not a small order. It's not a tall order either, though, right? I mean, crypto in an hour can flip the switch really quick. So if today could close green, I think that'd be a point in the favor of the bulls that we have found the low today. If it closes red, I think the odds that we go below this low are a little bit more significant than $8.89 now. Looking at this from a high to a low. And if we go lower, I'm not going to be like, I called it, because I'm clearly not calling for it now. This is a perfect area to find support. I am calling for this to be the low. I'm just saying there are a lot of things that make sense for it to go lower. When it is time to go higher, oh, and you will. Obviously, the 786, 886 will be the next stopping point. Will it look like this? Will it just be a small phase like this? I don't know. But you'll stop there momentarily before moving up higher overall and seeing new all-time highs. ZANO is definitely on a path right now, being at $8.87, definitely on a path that will take it above $25, probably even above $26. That's the minimum target there. And then your 1414 is at $31, your 1618 is at $40. I could see you hitting these targets by the end of the month, man. You could hit any of these targets by the end of the month. And if you're not there by the end of the month, that's fine. That's fine. You will hit them inevitably. I think that by the end of this run overall, by the end of June, early July, my minimum expectation for ZANO would be something around $40 by the end of June, if not early July. That'd be my minimum expectation, is $40. Maximum expectation, I don't know, man. I really don't know. You break above 40. Here's the deal. So this is your primary target zone, right? The 1272 to the 1618. That's your primary fib extensions. Your secondary target zone is the 1886 to the 2618. Okay, that's your secondary target zone. You gain access to the secondary target zone once you break above the primary target zone, the 1618. It's fairly straightforward, right? Just because the maximum is here at $150 doesn't mean that you have to go there. But ZANO is at a low enough market cap, you guys, where, I mean, we really could see something crazy happen with this. And it's very robust, very strong. $119 million market cap. I feel like privacy coins are making a comeback. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like I hear it, the whispers in the air. I don't know, maybe not. There's a lot of things that are against privacy coins. There's a lot of regulations that are being made that are being made against privacy coins. Shout out to the EU. But there's a lot of regulations, or there's a lot of hype, I feel like, surrounding privacy coins too. I don't know. Monero's on the up and up. There's a real use for privacy coins. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm just saying, I would not bet against the idea, being here at 887, that ZANO could move up to $150. I would not bet against it. If someone said, hey, if you don't think it's going to happen, I'll bet you that it does, I wouldn't take that bet. I'm not going to bet against it. I'm not going to call for it myself, but I'm not going to bet against it. It's a possibility. I accept it as a possibility. If someone said, I'll bet you that it stops at $40, I would take that bet. I bet it does not stop at $40, but that is the minimum target. Let's be fair. 40 is the minimum target. I could lose that bet, but I would bet it does not stop at 40. I think 57 to 66 could be a really good minimum. That might be C-Zar's minimum versus like the fib's minimum, right? Something on the lines of like a 6x to a 7x. But I think more than any of that nice psychological level of $100 right there, around about an 11x move from here, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think ZANO, you are on a path right now between the end of June and the early phases of July. Like the first week of July or the last week of June, you'll be at or around $100. With the 2272 target specifically, you do not stop there. You actually oftentimes go just a little bit above there. And just above $95 is $100. I wouldn't be surprised if you found resistance right at $100, just above, just below, whatever, right there in that area, give or take $5. You find resistance right there, ZANO, and then you go through your next multi-week, multi-month consolidation phase, however long it lasts. I do believe that you have higher to go by the end of the cycle, but that's a topic for another video, I suppose. I don't think I have anything else that I want to talk about. Hit the like button, subscribe. This thing definitely has a lot of potential. If anybody's looking to buy it and you're in the United States, there's not a whole lot of options for you to buy it. So if you want to use Mexi or CoinX, you have to use a VPN, right? If you're in America, you have to use a VPN, or you can buy it through decentralized means. Just grok it. Grok, ask, how can I buy ZANO? You can buy ZANO even if you're in the United States through other means. I'm fairly positive you can. There are dexes where you can buy that. But I got nothing else for you guys. So hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.